This morning, the Supreme Court recognized that the Constitution guarantees marriage equality. In doing so, they've reaffirmed that all Americans are entitled to the equal protection of the law.
KMIR News at 6 starts now.
Good evening. This is the KMIR News at 6. I'm Gino Lamont.
And I'm Janet Zapala.
In a close 5-4 ruling today, the United States Supreme Court declared the right to marry applies to every American and legalized gay marriage in all 50 states.
As a result, we have live team coverage tonight on this historic ruling, including both our KMIR News analysts. They'll be joining us later in this broadcast, but right now, Kitty Alvarado is live in our newsroom with more on today's ruling and its impact nationwide. Kitty.
Gino, Janet, not all 13 states affected by this historic Supreme Court ruling are rushing to perform same-sex marriages, but 6 states are, and the rest must abide by the decision after today. A crowd outside court exploded into chants and songs and hugs celebrating. Same-sex marriage ruled a constitutional right and instantly legalized in the 14 states where it was still banned, like Ohio. Laura Woolley stated.
Yes, I'm super excited about it.
Opponents protested.
Marriage is the union of one man and one woman.
But plaintiff Jamo Bergefell from Ohio said the term gay marriage can now be dropped.
That from this day forward, it will simply be marriage.
Obergefell got a call from President Obama, and Mr. Obama came out to praise the ruling.
When all Americans are treated as equal, we are all more free.
Opposing the 5-4 decision, Chief Justice Roberts complained the Constitution had nothing to do with it. But for the majority, Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote, same-sex couples seek not to denigrate marriage, but rather to live their lives or honor their spouse's memory, joined by its bond. And he wrote, bans on gay marriage harm and humiliate the children of same-sex couples. In Texas, Sanaz Fiali and Marty Beyer rushed to get a marriage license with their kids in mind.
We don't have to think about explaining our family legally to the, school district or anything.
This was Mobile, Alabama today. Back at court, they sang the national anthem. In fact, most Americans back the right to marry for everyone. 57% of Americans now believe that same-sex marriage is a constitutional right, and that's according to the latest NBC News poll. Live in the newsroom, Kitty Alvarado, KMIR News.
All right, thank you, Kitty. Congressman Raul Ruiz was in a celebratory mood in nation's capital today, and the decision is a win for all Americans.
Celebrated, they cheered, and they walked over to the Supreme Court with the thousands of people that were out there, and it is truly, truly a historic and momentous event for America and for the future, and it is a time where we will tell our children that yes, indeed, we are all equal under the law and our great Constitution.
Palm Springs has one of the largest gay communities in the country, and a celebration rally is already underway.
Yeah, the LGBT Community Center of the Desert is hosting the community-wide rally. This to celebrate the Supreme Court decision today. Gloria Rodriguez live in Palm Springs in the middle of it all. Hi, Gloria.
Good evening, Janet, Gino. Right now I'm at Francis Stevens Park on Palm Canyon Drive in Alejo, and about 1,500 people have gathered here to celebrate the landmark decision by the Supreme Court making gay marriage the law of the land. And I'm going to take a walk aside so you can see the crowd here. About 1,500 people have arrived for this celebratory meeting here. And there are members of the gay community here, as well as allies. You see kids, dogs, really a community gathering. And I've talked to many people who say they are just ecstatic with the Supreme Court's decision.
Affirm the right. It's a good day. It's a good day.
It's a good day for Cathedral City residents Leanne Ferguson and Emily Cunningham. They were married in California 6 years ago, but now their marriage is recognized in all 50 states.
In life, people ask you, when you're doing something, are you married or whatever? And what's really nice is that we can say we're married.
I've been watching it all morning on TV. As soon as it broke, chill bumps, teary-eyed, watching couples, watching interviews, just knowing that feeling that we do have this right and being recognized now, and not you know, not being ostracized or being afraid, that we can just be who we are and be accepted.
Michael Green and Stephen Boyd have been together for 32 years and got married 6 years ago. The owners of the Triangle in Palm Springs, a gay resort, say this is a huge civil rights victory.
It has faced so much opposition, and this just really settles it. And I think it gives all gay couples in every state of the union the confidence to know that their relationship, if they choose to get married, it will be recognized. And if they retire to a different state, or they move to a different state, or take a job in a different state, they don't lose their marriage rights.
I remember the day we got married and how much that felt and how good that felt in my heart, and to know that everybody in the country can feel that now. No matter who they love, they are legally allowed to feel that. And it's a really deep emotion.
This day forward. And back here live, you will see many pride flags out here, a lot of chanting, a lot of cheering. There have been speakers out here, also music, and there's also been a lot of emotional people out here. I've talked to many couples who say they never thought in all of their lifetime that they would see gay marriage be the law of the land. So a very big day here in Palm Springs. Live in Palm Springs, Gloria Rodriguez, KMIR News.
Thank you, Gloria, but not everyone is on board with the court ruling today. Many local conservative groups and churches believe that marriage is a union between a man and a woman. So today we spoke with a Catholic priest in Palm Desert to get his reaction.
Everyone is welcome in the Catholic Church, everyone. And everyone is a unique, loving creation of God. And we can certainly say that God by no means loves heterosexuals more than homosexuals, that loves people that are straight more than people that are gay. However, marriage is authored by God and is meant to be between a man and a woman.
So no gay weddings here?
No gay weddings here. No, that's not what the church believes. I'd like to add that the church does not view this as a contest that we're trying to win. It's rather the church is simply trying to remain faithful.
Joining us now to talk about the legal consequences of today's ruling is KMIR News legal analyst John Patrick Dolan.
Welcome once again, John. And like a true attorney, I see you have the opinion right there in your hands proving that it is now the law of the land.
There is an opinion. There are 4 separate dissents, and they're interesting reading.
I bet.
Let's talk about the 13 states who currently have state laws banning same-sex marriage. What happens there?
Those laws are now null and void by means of this opinion. So the states don't have to do anything. They don't have to go back and repeal them. Those laws are no longer valid.
What about that grace period that the Supreme Court allows these states that ban same-sex marriage?
Well, there's a grace period before a decision becomes final, but frankly, it's virtually meaningless here because every state now has been told you cannot have legislation that bans same-sex marriage.
Right, and you are getting some states that are telling their state employees that they don't have to do it if it violates their religious beliefs. Where can they fall on that?
Well, interesting. You can have religious beliefs, but you can't use them to implement state law. And so that's really the distinction. You can go to your church and you can agree that you don't want to have same-sex marriage if that's part of your faith, and nobody can argue with that, but you can't use that philosophy implementing the laws of the state or the federal government at this point.
All right, KMIR News legal analyst John Patrick Dolan. Thank you, sir, as always.
Indeed.
Joining us now, KMIR News political analyst Hank Plant. And Hank, immediately when it comes to the politics, what happens now?
Well, the culture wars are over and the gays won. That's the headline, and that's the message that politicians better be paying attention to. And that is especially true when it comes to millennials. The most interesting survey I've seen through this whole battle is the one that came out earlier this year that showed that among evangelicals, young evangelicals under 30, half of them believed in gay marriage. So those are numbers you cannot argue with.
So Republicans now going into the election for 2016, I guess they're going to have to appeal to conservatives who are for the banning of same-sex marriage, but without alienating that other group that supports the ban.
That's precisely right. And in fact, let's not assume that all conservatives are against gay marriage, because Barry Goldwater, the father of modern conservatism, was in favor of gay rights, because he thought that the true conservative position was Government should stay out of your bedroom.
The libertarian aspect of this is certainly going to kick in for a lot of conservatives.
Sure. What does somebody like Rand Paul do with this information? I mean, does the government have a right telling you who you can marry and how you can marry them? Anyway, the Republicans have a really tough road ahead on this.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the bigger picture, how Palm Springs and cities like San Francisco that have large gay communities sort of started this wave towards acceptance.
They really did. San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom started issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples in 2004. He knew that it was illegal, but he wanted to push the envelope a little bit. And then you have cities which are very, very gay, like Palm Springs, like Cathedral City, parts of Rancho Mirage. These are gayborhoods, that's what they're called to the demographers, and it has an effect. I have a column in tomorrow morning's Desert Sun about this. One of the points I make is that Justice Anthony Kennedy, he has a house here. He has a vacation house here. He goes out to the neighborhoods in Palm Springs and in other parts of the valley. He encounters the same gay and lesbian people that we all encounter. This has to have an effect on you.
It's just amazing what has happened, the progress over the last 10, 20 years, a complete transformation pretty much.
Janet, I have never seen a political issue shift this much. There was a 20-point change in 4 years on the subject of gay marriage, from people feeling negatively about it to positively.
All right, KMIR News political analyst Hank Plant, thank you as always, sir. Still to come in the KMIR News at 6.
We'll have a live report on that lake fire still burning in the high desert.
You're watching KMIR News at 6 with Gino Lamont, Janet Zapala, and Jeff Fox with weather.
Welcome back. Clouds and smoke overhead throughout the day today.
Yeah, it may not have been picture perfect weather, the kind of weather we're used to here in June, but certainly really good weather for firefighting. Jeff.
Yeah, that's one of the things that has shown a benefit today. Not much good about our weather, but the humidity is up, the temperatures are down, and for us, the wind has become a better factor. This is a time-lapse photography looking at the fire, but this is looking north. In other words, the Coachella Valley, Palm Springs is down over that way, but you can see all the clouds coming in this direction, and where you see smoke bubbling up, and I know it's tough to separate the smoke from the clouds. Where you see smoke coming up, it's coming back toward the camera, back toward me, meaning away from the Coachella Valley. Now, the reason that we've had some smell of smoke is because early in the morning, we've seen a little bit of flow out of the north. But as the day goes on, it starts to blow the smoke away. In fact, most of the day, the smoke is being blown north and east of the fire, so away from the Coachella Valley. But you can see on this map, over the next few days, the winds are going to be somewhat variable. The good news is they're not going to be exceptionally strong, so everything working in the firefighters' favor. Back with more in just a little while, guys.
After several days of massive growth, the lake fire is still growing, but that growth is slowing down as it heads towards the high desert.
Yeah, that for sure is the good news. The past few days, the fire did grow more than 10,000 acres and did lose some containment. Mandatory evacuation still in place, including in areas along Highway 38 east of Angeles Oaks to Onyx Summit. Our Angela Monroe is live tonight in Morongo Valley, where the fire is slowing down a bit. Angela.
Janet and Gino, I have some new numbers for you. Fire officials gave these to me just a couple minutes ago. They say that the lake fire is now 30,526 acres. That's up about 700 acres, which is better than what we saw the past couple days, which was up 5,000 acres per day, and containment's now at 20%. As you can tell looking behind me, I'm in Morongo Valley right now. The fire really has tamed down. A lot of that has to do with the weather today. There's been a lack of wind, clouds, humidity. In fact, we saw a few raindrops. Still, there are more than 7,000 homes that are threatened by this fire. I spoke to some residents who are still waiting to evacuate. Residents in Pioneer Town are getting ready to leave at a moment's notice. Julie Schofield is still at her home, but packed.
Loaded cars, we loaded our truck and camper and got it out and into town, and some of our photos and albums are out and important papers, so we're just ready to go if needed.
Fire officials tell me that most of the people in the Rimrock area have evacuated. It's mandatory for here, but Pioneer Town is still under only a voluntary evacuation. Fire engines rush down rural roads. More than 2,100 firefighters are battling the blaze by ground and by air.
It brought back a lot of bad memories from the '06 fire.
Julie lost a vehicle, but not her home in that destructive sawtooth fire nearly a decade ago. Now that old burn zone is actually a protection.
Where it's hitting the burn scar, it's hanging up and just holding in place. That's probably the only silver lining from that terribly destructive fire.
This fire, the lake fire, grew thousands of acres the past couple days, forcing those evacuations.
Yesterday, boy, it just got a full head of steam and it traveled pretty quickly. So I was surprised.
But now the weather is helping the firefight.
Yeah, the cloud cover up above, so we're not getting the solar radiant heating of the fuels. We've got increased humidity in the air, the moisture, so it's slowing a bit the burning of the fuels that are up there.
So now residents like Julie wait and see.
We're staying at our place and we've cleared our land, so we're just going with it.
Now, the lake fire started south of Big Bear Lake last week and has now grown to 30,000 acres. The cause of what started that fire is still under investigation. Live in Morongo Valley, I'm Angela Monroe, KMIR News.
Thanks for that update, Angela. Well, there is a major development back east in the search for those 2 prison escapees in upstate New York. One shot dead, the other is still on the loose tonight. Mark Barger has more.
Bystander video captured a swarm of law enforcement vehicles descending on an area of Malone, New York.
We got one guy down.
That's where sources tell NBC News that Richard Matt was shot and killed by authorities. It's about 30 miles northwest of the Clinton Correctional Facility, where Matt and fellow inmate David Sweat escaped on June 6th. There's no word on Sweat's whereabouts or details of the circumstances surrounding the fatal shooting of Matt. It comes just hours after authorities indicated they had discovered more evidence left behind by the inmates. Items discovered in a cabin Thursday night and in a field Friday morning, both in the town of Malone. No details about the items were released, but authorities noted them as significant. More than 1,100 law enforcement authorities have been involved in the search. 2 prison workers are facing charges in connection with the inmates' escape. Mark Barger, KMIR News.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Time now for a check on our weather.
Yeah, Jeff Fox brings us up to date as to what the weather conditions are out there now and what they're going to be like as we head into the weekend. Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Janet. Well, this is definitely a simulator of my youth because today in the Coachella Valley feels like growing up in Queens with no air conditioning. It was hot and sticky, though not as hot as predicted because of all the cloud cover we had today. 94 in Palm Springs, 96 Palm Desert, 92,000 Palms, 96 Indio. There are indications in the computer guidance we could actually see the temperature pop up a little bit tonight as the humidity goes down a little bit. But you can see the flow has been up from the south, bringing moisture out of Mexico. This is part of that monsoonal flow. I didn't expect it to be this strong this soon. It should retreat a little bit tomorrow and then come back in earnest on Sunday with a chance of a shower or a thunder shower and certainly a lot more humidity again. Overnight, we dip down to the low 80s. If you're going to do anything outside, you got to do it tomorrow morning. By 10 o'clock, we're already at 97 during the day tomorrow. And again, Sunday will be more humid. And starting Sunday through Wednesday, we pick up a chance of a scattered late day or early evening thunderstorm pretty much anywhere in the valley. 110 tomorrow, 108 Sunday, and staying hot and sticky through midweek before the humidity retreats. Gino and Janet, back to you.
All right, thank you, sir. Coming up after the break.
We'll have a sneak peek at the soon-to-be-released Amy Winehouse documentary. That's coming up in tonight's Showbiz Report.
In tonight's Showbiz Report, the long-awaited documentary about the late singer and songwriter Amy Winehouse will be released in the U.S. soon. The film, titled Amy, follows Winehouse through home videos, news reports, and television performances. Producer James Gay Reese says the idea for the film came about during a meeting with managers at Universal Records who wanted people to remember Winehouse as a talented musician and not a troubled addict. Amy will be released July 3rd. The Showbiz Report brought to you each and every night by the show at Agua Caliente Casino Resort Spa in Rancho Mirage. Coming up at the show, Charlie Wilson, followed by Calibre 50 and Banda Carnival. And then on the 25th of July, America Comes to Town.
That's going to be a good show. All of those shows.
Be great shows coming up next.
Well, you'll soon have to ask Mickey, that's at Mickey Mouse, to take that photo of you. We'll tell you more. Tell you why next.
In tonight's Showbiz Report, the long-awaited documentary about the late singer and songwriter Amy Winehouse will be released in the U.S. soon. The film, titled Amy, follows Winehouse through home videos, news reports, and television performances. Producer James Gay Reese says the idea for the film came about during a meeting with managers at Universal Records who wanted people to remember Winehouse as a talented musician and not a troubled addict. Amy will be released July 3rd. The Showbiz Report brought to you each and every night by the show at Agua Caliente Casino Resort Spa in Rancho Mirage. Coming up at the show, Charlie Wilson, followed by Calibre 50 and Banda Carnival. And then on the 25th of July, America Comes to Town.
That's going to be a good show. All of those shows.
Be great shows coming up next.
Well, you'll soon have to ask Mickey, that's at Mickey Mouse, to take that photo of you. We'll tell you more. Tell you why next.
On the brighter side of the news, you know those people with their selfie sticks? You know, they get hit in the head.
I see you with one.
I don't have, look at these people. Anyways, if you want to go to Walt Disney World or Disneyland, you're going to have to leave your selfie stick in the car.
Yeah, they've been banned. This comes days after an incident when a selfie stick actually stalled a Disney roller coaster here in California. A spokesperson for Disney says selfie sticks pose a safety concern, and that is the reason for the ban.
Yeah, they said before you couldn't take it on the rides for obvious reasons, and then somebody did it anyways, and it got jammed up in the ride. Ruined it for everybody.
That's really unsafe, so gotta ban it. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
See you back here at 11.
Good night.